Who pays the tariffs?
The Chinese government pays the tariff.
No, they don't.
Who benefits from the tariffs? Who really pays the price? Well, welcome to the Real Estate Tax Tips channel. My name is Cherry Chen, a chartered professional accountant located in Oakville, Ontario, Canada, and I'm on a mission to become the Google map for hardworking Canadians seeking financial freedom. Today, we are diving into the topic of tariffs. But before I get started, make sure you hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you enjoy our content and stay on top of the latest tax tips. Now, tariffs is the hottest topic this past weekend. Specifically, we are going to talk about 25% tariffs that US government is imposing on most Canadian goods, and Canada's 25% retaliatory tariffs against the US goods, and what this means for real estate, home prices, and your wallet. So what really are tariffs? Well, so first, a tariff is basically a tax on imported goods. If a country imposes a 25% tariff on a product, that means it becomes 25% more expensive when it crosses the border. Let's take an example. A $100 bag of groceries originated from the US with a 25% tariff, that same bag now costs $125. Now, who pays for that $25 extra tax on the bag of grocery? The importer are going to pay that $25 on the imported groceries, and the importer, like any sound business people, they would not be the one absorbing that $25 extra tax that they have to pay to the government. So what they would do is that instead of charging $100 to you, they're going to charge $125 to everyday consumer. So ultimately, the everyday average people, you and I, would be the one paying for this 25% tariffs. Now imagine this happening not just with groceries, but also the building material, appliances, and furniture, things that directly affect Canadians' everyday life and also real estate. Now, do tariffs really work? Let's take a step further. Do tariffs actually help domestic industries, or do they just make everything more expensive? Well, let's look at the real-world example from the Wall Street Journal YouTube video, washing machines.
Washing machines are going to benefit our consumers, and we're going to create a lot of jobs.
Now, a few years ago, during Donald Trump's first term, the US imposed tariffs on imported washing machines to protect American manufacturers. The idea was that if foreign washing machines became more expensive, people would buy American-made ones instead. But what actually happened? Well, it did create jobs, like how Donald Trump sold it. 1,800 jobs was created from these foreign companies opening plants in the US to create these manufacture these washing machines. And they also collected, through these plants, collected about $82 million annually. Before we get all excited about this, how effective the tariffs work to achieve the goals that's being set out by Donald Trump, what they failed to anticipate is that the prices of all the washing machines actually went up, whether they were imported or made in the US. Remember, the goal of the tariffs is to increase the price of the imported goods so that people would be motivated to buy the local one. But instead, in this situation, the imported washing machines were more expensive as expected because of the tariffs, and the local manufacturers also took advantage of these opportunities to increase their profit margin, increase the price of the washing machine to match what is being charged by the imported machines. So as a matter of fact, they didn't just raise the prices on the washing machines alone. These manufacturers came together, they also raised prices on the dryers as well. In fact, studies have shown that American consumers pay an extra $1.5 billion in higher prices as a result of this tariffs on washing machines. In a nutshell, Americans collectively pay $815,000 to create each job to create this 1,800 jobs. So while tariffs were meant to protect local businesses, they ended up costing everyday consumers way more. Now, the big picture, how much are Americans paying in tariffs? Well, the US imports billions of dollars worth of goods from Canada, Mexico, and China every year. Under Trump's plan, they are going to charge 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods, 10% additional tariffs on Chinese goods. And how much does they actually cost average American? Well, here are the actual numbers. In 2024, the U.S. imported $429 billion of goods from Canada, $475 billion from Mexico, and $536 billion from China. A 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico plus a 10% on China means Americans are paying tens of billions of dollars more in extra taxes that they may not even be aware, that they may think that it was the foreign country governments are paying. In my simple mind, like I'm no economist, in my little simple mind, I take 429 billion imported goods from Canada, multiply that by 25%, the Americans will be paying $107 billion on imported goods from Canada alone. Well, if I count China as well, that 10% tariffs, additional tariffs on Chinese imported goods, the Americans will be paying an additional $54 billion. If the washing machine example applies all across to the entire economy, all the goods that are being imported from Canada, Mexico, and China, the cost of living in America will rise dramatically. Yes, it will create some jobs, just like the case of, for washing machine, but America will also lose many jobs related to the production of all these imported goods. But what about Canada? We live in Canada, we're Canadians. Canada also relies heavily on the US import. In 2024, Canada imported $435 billion worth of goods from the US. In response to this America's 25% tariffs, Canadian government announced this retaliatory 25% tariffs on various US goods. Well, with a 25% tariffs on many of these products, Canadians will also be paying billions more. And again, in my little simple mind, Canadian can pay as much as $109 billion annually towards this trade war. Of course, we Canadians will adapt and switch immediately. We are buying from local Canadian manufacturer, and we are seeing signs everywhere that says products of Canada. So then it encourages Canadian consumer to purchase products that are made in Canada. Now let's get into the real estate impact. Well, tariffs don't just affect groceries, they hit housing, construction, and renovation hard. For one, there will be higher construction costs. And the higher construction cost means that there will be fewer new homes being produced. While Canada imports a large share of building materials from the US, like lumber, steel, aluminum, and appliances. A 25% tariffs means that the cost of importing all these would be much higher, making the new housing projects a lot more expensive or even unprofitable. Result, developers would just slow down or stop new projects, worsening the housing shortage. Second impact, renovation become more expensive. Well, if you're planning to renovate your home, expect higher prices for materials. Developers will pass these costs to buyers, meaning higher home prices overall. Now, number three, inflation plus higher interest rate potentially equals tougher mortgage market. Well, chances are the material costs will be higher, which will contribute to inflation. And one of the counteract strategy that the Bank of Canada would adopt is to raise interest rate to control the inflation. And as we all experience over the last few years, higher interest rates means that it's more expensive mortgages, meaning that there are fewer buyers. Now, number four, the supply chain disruptions and construction delays. Given that there is a tariffs going on, it's going to disrupt the supply chains altogether. It will cause delays in construction. and the developers will face longer waiting time and increased cost. Number 5, it will also affect the regional real estate markets, and it may affect it differently. Now, major cities like Toronto and Vancouver may see price increase due to supply shortages, particularly in the new housing market sector. The smaller cities and rural areas may see slower real estate activity because of the affordability issues. Now, what's actually on the tariff list? Well, so what kind of products are getting hit with tariffs? Let's break it down. Well, particularly affecting the real estate sectors, plywood and wood products, they are essential for the new builds and renovations, household appliances, fridges, freezers, HVAC system, household plastics, kitchenware, pipes and materials, furniture, chairs, home decor, grocery items that could also be affected, dairy product, cheese, yogurt, prepared meals, snacks and drinks, condiments and sauces, ketchup, soy sauce, salad dressing. What does this list mean? It means more expensive groceries and more expensive homes. So what's the key takeaway? Tariffs means higher costs, fewer new builds, and possible real estate inflation. If you're investing in real estate, this is something you need to watch closely. Until next time, happy Canadian real estate investing. Bye, Canadians.